Welcome, ladies, gentlemen and snotlings. In this video, I'm going to be addressing something that at first might sound unusual, but is probably quite usual. You've all probably experienced it at some point. What happens when there are not enough players and maybe the GM is having a bit of GM burnout, but it's a system he knows and you need more players, and maybe the GM's thinking, well, I could play a character. Does it work? Well, firstly, I'd be interested if you, as a community, could tell me, have you ever had the GM attempt to join the party as a character? Did you find some way to actually make that work? If you had low numbers at the time, what did you do? Did it work? Did his prior knowledge manage to spoil anything? Or did he manage to keep his character on track? Did you employ any tricks? Now, this is something that we have had to do before we were able to increase the size of our gaming circle. So the GM played along, and also he wanted to not be left out, bless him. So I came up with an idea for how the GM could take part, because we'd already had some problems with him having prior knowledge of a small campaign we'd run, and he'd already played the campaign. Now we tried having him go in as a mute character into that thing, and he knew that a certain thing was a trap, and this time the character he was playing, well, he refused to go down there because he quite didn't like the thought of it, and sort of thing. Well, that was bad role playing, wasn't it? So he wouldn't have had that prior knowledge that he shouldn't go down there, but it's the player's own knowledge that he shouldn't go down there that led him to have a bad feeling about it, and it just didn't come off too good. It was the Warhammer setting. Now, some of you are familiar with Their Fated Travels. You can access that here. Bam! Okay, Their Fated Travels. The character Tordrad. He's from Kislev. Tordrad was played by the GM. So you'll notice that he's somebody that can speak no Reichspiel. He can only speak the Kislev language. Now that was the idea to get round this. The GM plays Tordrad, and he cannot communicate with the group. He cannot convey anything to the group, and he's also been RP'd in such a certain mindset that he more concentrates on his drink, just welcomes the trouble, gets up in the front lines, and all of the things he's got to say as more inner monologue. And we express that in the storyline via the diaries and things like that. So that's how we got round it. We actually managed to have a successful role-playing campaign with the GM taking part as well. Now, it's probably not advisable, is it? Because the GM has to play all of the other characters in the world. At the very least, it's going to slow his thought processes down and for the quality of his output. But it is what we did, or we probably wouldn't have even been able to play. Have you ever witnessed this, experienced this, been a part of this, or had anything go wrong as a result of attempting this? That's how we made it work. It did work out quite well, but only with enough major planning did we make it work. We made sure that he was never going to be able to speak the common language of the other players, and we made sure that none of the other players were ever going to learn the Kislev language, so they were never going to be able to communicate, and his interests were always more on, let's find a tavern, let's have a drink. The other thing we did, so that he wasn't too prominent a character, he was actually being paid by the wizard maestro to be his bodyguard. He really, followed the lead of what the wizard wanted to do, and that was really the cue for what he had to do. It wouldn't matter what he wanted to do. If the wizard decided, well, he's going down that passage, well, he's going to have to go down that passage with him to make sure the stupid wizard manages to survive. And of course the dynamic was good anyway, because the wizard is stupid. So it helped lead him off into the things anyway. So yes, I'd be interested if any of you have got anything to say on the matter, but it's just another little piece of role-playing that comes to mind that I've experienced that I thought you might find of some interest.